So the last part of repentance is that turning away. So when we realize that we sin, we become sorry for that sin, we turn away from our sin, and we turn to God. Repentance is not complete in feeling sorrow or remorse for our sin. It becomes complete in the act of turning away. You see, you can say, I'm sorry. And I know, because I know from my own experience, I've said sorry a lot of times. And then all of a sudden, I find myself doing the same thing all over again. There wasn't a change. There wasn't a complete turnaround. All these three things have to happen for repentance: that you know that there's sin and that you are a sinner, that you're committing it. There has to be some kind of sorrow for that sin. And because it has to have some kind of importance. And then there's a turning away from it. This is not an intellectual thing, by the way. Some people, oh yeah, I'm just gonna intellectually, yeah, that was wrong. It doesn't quite work like that. The intellect is involved, obviously, you have to use your mind. But this involves the whole you. You change because your whole life is reoriented. You're not turning into sin, you're turning to God. And when Jesus Christ becomes the center of your life, all the other things have a whole different outlook. Some of us have the center of our life as our politics, as we have seen in the past months and weeks. Some of us have centered in our life our own self-righteousness. And then we brand it, whatever we brand it, whether it's Christianity or some other religion or some other idea. Some of us have our ethnicity, our socioeconomic status, whatever it is, the center of our life. And so when we feel threatened, the things that we think we would never do, all those sins start rushing in. We start doing the things to protect whatever it is most important to us. And we forget, because we have Jesus Christ out there somewhere. Somewhere out there, somewhere inside of a church building that I'll never go to, somewhere in a book or a bunch of books that I probably will never read. We keep him away from us and wonder, where's God? God does not force himself upon you. Jesus Christ said, knock. I will knock. He didn't say I was going to come in and break the door down of your heart. He said, I'm going to knock on the door of your heart. And if you answer, I will come in. And I will sit down with you. And I'll have a meal with you. And I'll tell you what life is really about. But some of us can't get away from that, so we don't realize. We say that Christ is the center of our life, but we don't really know him. But I guarantee you, we know what's going on at work. We know what's going on social media and everywhere else, but we may not know what's going on with God. You see, repentance in Christian life is not a once and for all act. It's the beginning of our journey into a life with Christ. The Christian life is a life of repentance. Repentance, then, is an act of grace where we realize sin, we experience sorrow, and we turn to God in faith. It's a change of mind. It's a change of mind towards sin as well as a change of action. And here's what's key. It involves emotion, intellect, and the will. Have you ever had something that you had to remember in a textbook? Even try to maybe remember a Bible verse. And you go, man, why can't I never remember that? Oh, but I can remember 20 years ago that my husband or my wife said this to me. Why is that? You realize there's an emotional attachment to that, remembering. There's an emotional attachment when you remember that maybe when your child was born, or when you graduated, or when some fantastic event happened to you when you were a kid, or when you were a young adult. You see, it involves the emotions, the intellect, and the will. It's all those components.